Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, let's just dive right into this, because if you're anything like the rest of us trying to navigate the modern world, life can feel, well, incredibly overwhelming, right? Everything is just moving at this blistering fast-forward pace. We're constantly rushing from one task to the next, frantically trying to fix things, putting out fires, and honestly just trying to get through the day. We put a massive premium on action. We value doing. But what if all that doing is actually the very thing keeping us from seeing what truly needs to be done? Today, we're exploring a profoundly different approach. This is drawn from the experiences of horticultural consultant Graham Farrer, and it's heavily inspired by Will Pritchard's concept of permaculture principles. We're going to learn how to stop fixing and start reading.
So, are you blind to the patterns of your own life? I know, it's a pretty heavy question, but let me paint a picture for you of what Graham Farrer calls his 2012 mindset. I want you to imagine a super chaotic, fast-cut montage of a guy just reacting to every single problem. Graham wasn't really observing his life back then. He was purely 100% reacting to it. He'd step outside, see a weed, and just aggressively rip it out. He'd open the mail, see a bill, and instantly go into panic mode. It was basically a life of endless, thoughtless labor. He was so incredibly busy doing with his hands, moving at a million miles an hour, that his eyes were completely closed to the actual reality of the system he was living in. He was working incredibly hard, for sure, but he was literally blind to the big picture.
To fix this, we need a massive paradigm shift. On one side, we have reacting, that frantic, fast-cut, chaotic energy of pulling weeds, panicking over money, and basically operating with your eyes squeezed shut. But on the exact opposite side, we have observing. And I really want you to feel this shift here. Imagine all that chaotic scene fading away into a beautiful, very slow, high-definition shot of a single plant in a quiet garden. Sitting still, waiting, seeing the patterns unfold. That right there is the absolute foundation of all good design. Instead of rushing in to impose our own will on a situation, we simply step back, slow down, and watch.
That brings us to this absolutely crucial idea. The most important tool isn't the shovel, it's the eye. Whenever we're trying to cultivate a garden, or honestly cultivate a better life, our first instinct is to immediately reach for the shovel. We want to dig. Actually, scratch that. We want to force a fix. But true abundance and the most effective solutions aren't forcefully built through sweat and panic. They're seen. By learning to just sit still and wait, you gather the vital intelligence you need to act purposefully instead of just reacting out of habit.
This all builds into a core permaculture concept called protracted observation. When Graham evaluates a project today, this is exactly where he starts. Think of it like a drone, flying high above a landscape. He isn't just snapping a quick photo. He's doing what he calls reading the landscape. He uses digital overlays on a screen, little arrows tracking exactly how the water flows, heat maps showing where the sun hits hardest. And why go through all that trouble? Because as humans, our brains are completely hardwired with filters and biases. By using these tools to simply trace the contours and gather the raw data, we totally bypass our own blind spots. We start reading the subtle, hidden stories the land is trying to tell us, way before we ever pick up a physical tool.
Section 1. Without judgment. Dealing with facts.
And you know what's fascinating? This philosophy translates everywhere, even to the digital world of your computer screen. But remember, true observation has to happen without immediate evaluation. Imagine Graham sitting at his computer, staring at a totally broken website or a crashed PC. The old 2012 Graham would immediately flip out, get super frustrated, and probably label the whole machine as trash. That's reacting. But now, look at how he handles it. Instead of getting angry, he looks at the screen and literally reads the code or the hardware exactly like he reads a physical landscape outside. He analyzes the data neutrally. He spots these little molehills in the code without judging them or labeling them as bad. And because he's dealing purely with facts and not his own frustrations, he can easily find the least change solution. Fixing the problem suddenly requires almost zero forceful effort, just a tiny strategic adjustment based on clear observation.
Section 2, the 3-2-1 Action Plan, Week 14.
So how do we actually do this? Let's introduce a really concrete step-by-step framework so you can immediately apply this permaculture philosophy to your own life today. It starts with the three ethical filters. Think of these as your daily mindfulness check. First up, earth care. Before you impose your quote-unquote brilliant ideas onto a piece of land or a new project, are you actually observing what it needs? Second, people care. Now this one is huge. Are you observing your own energy levels without judging yourself for needing a break? We need to stop calling ourselves lazy.
Just observe the raw data of your fatigue. And third, fair shares. Are you sharing these vital observations with your community so everyone can learn and grow together?
Next up is the principal application. Here are your 2 real-world daily practices. First is Zone 0, which is all about your perspective. I want you to practice observation without evaluation for just 10 minutes today. Look at a problem in your life and write down only the cold, hard facts. No feelings, no frustrations, just the data. Second is Zone 1, the landscape. Go find a spot in your garden or even just a local park and sit there for 20 minutes. Don't pull out your phone, don't even take notes. Just use all your senses to experientially read what is happening around you in that physical space.
And finally, the 1. What is the single, immediate yield of taking the time to do all this? It is simply identifying one single blind spot. Just one thing you have been totally ignoring because of your own biases or because you've been rushing around too much. And the best part? You don't even have to fix it today. Just acknowledging that blind spot exists is your yield. It's the absolute first entirely necessary step toward a much better, more functional design for your life.
Which brings us right to our concluding thought. Abundance is seen before it is built. By deliberately stepping back from all that frantic, thoughtless labor, we finally take the time to see the world as it truly is. Observation isn't passive, guys. It's a really deep interaction that completely changes us. It ensures that when we finally do decide to take action, every single move we make is a deliberate step toward permanent, resilient abundance. We stop fighting the world, and we finally start having a conversation with it.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question. Are you ready to see what I see? The very next time you feel that familiar urge to rush in with a shovel, whether that's literal or metaphorical, I challenge you to stop, put it down, open your eyes, and just read the world for a moment. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep observing.